telling people to be scared of AI is such a broy status lame take.
Okay.
Because
I might push back on that a little bit, but go ahead.
It's like a status move to be like, look, you're not reading what I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in touch with the people I'm in touch with. You don't understand technology the way I do.
Yeah.
You need to get on board with this because this is the future. Zuckerberg, how long ago was he calling his shot saying by 2025, we're all going to be wearing goggles and meeting up in the metaverse.
Right.
Facebook is no longer Facebook. It's Meta.
Yeah.
They have to lie to us that some big idea is on the horizon in order to inflate their value. Right. I don't put much stock into these guys telling us what's going to happen.
Yeah.
When they've been wrong. I mean, they've been right about a lot of it, but they're not this class of oracles. They are hardworking businessmen who want to make money.
Yeah, who want to sell their product.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not geniuses up there.
No.
It's such a sham. And I'm sure AI is going to be very powerful in our lives and in our children's lives, but it is not going to change the world in the way that everybody thinks that all these bros are trying to scare us about. And this is based on no research. This is just gut instinct.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
So deep. So deep.
Or in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles.
You have to go deeper, I think.
Hello and welcome into the show. This is Deep Noodle. I'm Nathaniel August Williams, and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and thank you for hanging out with us a bit. I'm really excited about the show today. My guest is a legend.
Yeah.
He changes the air in the room.
Yeah.
He's a force of nature.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
Shaquille O'Neal.
He's much like Shaquille O'Neal in many ways. Actor, writer, he's appeared on Veep, Abbott Elementary, the Onion News Network, and is the voice of Kite Man on the animated show Kite Man, Hell Yeah, and the voice of Killer Croc on the animated show Harley Quinn. Yeah. He will be appearing in the upcoming 4th season of Hacks on HBO Max and The Residents on Netflix. And his podcast, The Extraordinarians, with Kristen Schaal and Tony Hale, will debut in April 2025. Matt Oberg, thank you so much for being here.
What's up? Happy to be here.
Yeah.
What a thrill. Here we are. This is going to be good.
Yeah. It's going to be fantastic. Matt, just killing it, man. Just crushing it. I hadn't been keeping up on all the work you're doing, man. You're working.
I think in LA or in other places too, you do want to know what people are working on, but it's awkward to ask. You need to formalize, all right, let's have a showbiz roundup. But rarely is it good news, I mean, sometimes, but most times oh yeah, that thing fell apart.
Yeah.
It's a fraught question to ask someone.
Well, we're going to talk about some of that stuff, but first, are you down to do a little bit of audience feedback?
We've
got some comments from some of the fans, some of the loyal fans.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. So this is feedback on previous episodes.
Yeah. This is some questions, some comments from previous episodes.
Exciting.
And I know that you have watched all of them, so I'm sure you'll have a lot to say and contribute. Here's the first one. This is from Sehun Balaban, and this was a YouTube comment. He says, or they say, you're doing a fantastic job.
Hey, great.
A bit off topic, but I wanted to ask, my OKC wallet holds some USDT and I have the seed phrase. How can I transfer them to Binance?
That name sounds like it's a random assortment of syllables, but they landed on Balaban. Is that a relation to Bob?
He's probably related to Bob. Sehun.
Great question.
Yeah. You want to handle this one?
This is a crypto bro.
Yeah. I would say that this is a scam of some sort because they say they actually write the seed phrase which
seed phrase.
the seed-
I don't even know what that is.
so I won't say it all because I feel like that's part of their scam is to get the
Sure.
seed phrase out there somehow. Like if you say this, like hearing it will give them access to all your computers and cell phones and things.
Sure.
But it's like alarm, fetch, churn, bridge, exercise, tape, speak. And then it goes on with a bunch of like random words.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What is a seed phrase?
I actually don't totally know either, but I think it's basically a password. Do you remember the movie Hackers in the 90s? And it was like, my voice is my passport. Verify me.
So this person wants you to say these words out loud and then can use that.
I think that this is a person that's like phishing. It's like they've done something so dumb. This would be like saying like, hey, my bank password is this. How do I transfer money to my account? This. And I think they want people to be like, to like maybe try to scam them and then they'll reverse scam them.
Yeah.
That's what I think's happening. But they said you're doing a fantastic
I see.
job. So that was enough for me. I just wanted to reward them.
Yeah, sure. That's all it takes.
Yeah, for the positive feedback.
Yeah. I mean, somewhere behind
Yeah.
there's a person.
I mean, I would
But-
say not just a person, but a fan. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They're on the hustle though. Sehun, thanks for watching. Thanks for your comment.
Yeah.
Dr. Bleep Blip says tinfoil hats are on the way to the show. P.O. Box. Have fun. And that's in response to the episode that just dropped with Lucas Kavner. We talked about some aliens.
Okay, that's fun. That's not some like guy hating on.
No, not a troll.
Yeah.
Dr. Bleep Lips, he's a super fan. This is his second comment.
Oh,
this
great.
is the second comment that he's gotten on the show. So thanks, Dr. Bleep Lips, for listening. We're looking forward to those tinfoil hats. And then CK.
I like Bleep Lips.
Dr. Bleep Lips.
This guy I like.
All right. So CK Rampin 22. And this is again, this comment was again about the alien episode. Lucas Kavner and I got it. We watched the trailer about aliens. Then there's a new movie about Disclosure coming out. Are you an aliens guy at all?
And what is define an aliens guy? Someone who believes that they've come here,
or just like into the are you like into kind of the idea and curious about like into the concept?
I have not done a ton of my own research. There's plenty of things that I have spent too much time Googling, but aliens is not one of them. I don't think they're here. I think what people discount is surely, according to the laws of probability, there's another living thing somewhere
For sure.
But
Are they here?
No, are they alive at the same time we are? That seems like that metric is not really accounted for in that back of the envelope calculation.
Math. Yeah, exactly.
That's
it's
my
like
hot take.
Billions of stars, but the timeline, like there's so much space and time that a whole species can come and go.
That's how long like humanity exists, less than that.
Yeah. I was thinking of it like a sparkler. Like you light a sparkler and all the sparks that come off of that, those are all like galaxies that come in and out of existence.
Okay,
you know what
great.
I mean? And then like within each of those sparks, there's millions of planets and then all that, you know what I mean? So it's so we were talking about how the alien ships crash here. Like if you have the technology to travel 100 million light years, probably you can handle a landing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, why would they be crashing?
Oh, yes. They wouldn't crash.
They wouldn't crash. They've like bent space time. They've like traveled through wormholes.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, the wind, it was a bird strike. You know? You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be all right.
What if they're really just like the way, we've seen them in movies? That would be
Like,
the ultimate. Like, oh my God, it's a green guy with big eyes.
Yeah. Who's not great at flying a ship, who's just sort of very fallible.
It's like literally a flying saucer and a green guy. Wow.
Yeah. So that's what C. Crampin says. He goes, you mean like when we send things to other planets and then get there and then we can't control it anymore, so we purposely send it crashing down? So it's like, no, all right. So that would imply that maybe the alien exploration of our planet is at the very limit of like their abilities.
I think that's a misrepresentation of what we're doing with spacecraft to other planets.
Go on.
The Mars rovers don't crash.
Yeah.
They land.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're crashing things into meteors or whatever, but
I think sometimes we'll have probes that'll circle planets or whatever, and then they'll like burn up in the atmosphere eventually. And we have had some probes crash accidentally. I do
guys,
think.
we have had some probes crash. Okay.
Yeah. Of probes crash here or there. So I see his point, but I do think, again, you're bending space-time, you're traveling hundreds of millions of light years. It just feels weird for it to be an accident. But, just like the way we kind of like reach for Mars or whatever, like those rovers don't come back.
Do you think
they stay there forever?
Alien? Do you think we will learn of an alien race in your lifetime?
Oh, man.
The answer is no.
But what do
you think?
Oh man, I'm just like one of these want to believers. I'm a X-Files guy, and I think it would be interesting to. I think if it happens, it will be like we detected a signature of, we detected a radio wave 800 million light years away. Like I don't think we'll meet an alien race, but I think it's possible we may detect some evidence of a intelligent civilization, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah, but probably not. I think you're right. The math of it is basically like there's no way aliens are here and we're never going to see them in our lifetime.
It seems like you really just want to talk about aliens.
Well, we did on the last episode. Thanks everybody. Thanks for your comments. We really appreciate it. And leave more. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what do you hate about me? And what do you hate about Nate?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Keep them coming. Yeah. And maybe we'll read them. And of course, if you're on, YouTube, leave us a subscribe or leave us a like and subscribe and a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the great things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is your deal. You're talking about leave us.
Yeah.
Leave you.
The crew. I'm saying the crew. You know what I mean?
Everybody.
The production, all the people behind the scenes that make this happen.
Fair enough. The royal us.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for the podcast life, Matt?
Oh, God. So I've been recording this podcast with Kristen and Tony.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's
So
been
you guys
fun.
have started. You've recorded.
Yes.
No episodes out, though, right?
No episodes out.
Yeah.
The shtick is that we interview people who have essentially like broken a Guinness World Record.
Oh, nice.
People have achieved notoriety in somewhat obscure pursuits, done something extraordinary. So they've been really fascinating, 25-minute conversations. And I think we're in that sweet spot now with any kind of thing that you're making where you're allowed to think like this could be good, but no one has seen it or heard it or consumed it yet.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to live in this fantasy where it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that time.
The beautiful. That's like the.
And maybe it will be. You never know.
Yeah. It's like the weekend's about to come. You're in the like Friday afternoon of the experience. Yeah.
TGIF. Here we go.
Is how many episodes have you guys recorded? A great cast, by the way, or cast or crew, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Great talent. Tony Hale
done
from
like
Veep.
4 or 6 interviews, something like somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they point out that don't record too many before you do get some feedback and hear what people are connecting with and what some of these haters are not enjoying. So
yeah.
Do
you have like is one of you the host? Is there kind of a thing? Are you like all kind of passing the ball?
Yeah. It's like 3 people talking to one person. It's like, when you're a kid and you go to some party and your aunts are all there pestering you with questions.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Can you tease any of the like guests you've had, or is that all secret?
I'm sure we can, but
and thank you for making this the first stop on your press tour, by the way.
Yeah, and only stop. It's funny because they're famous and I am not yet famous.
Not yet, but it's an inevitability.
It's being produced by HeadGum, which is a nice podcast studio.
Yeah.
And they have to speak to all 3 of us as if we're on the same level. They're like, so guys, we just want to loop in your publicist. Do you guys have a publicist? And actually, Kristen and Tony don't either, I don't think. But I was like, I don't,
Handle that in-house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, push this out to your socials. And I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, I will. But I enjoy that they have to, favor nations, all three of us with that. It's a great team. And we've talked to a bunch of people. One, a young man in England who's done the most flips off a trampoline.
Whoa.
9 flips.
Oh, like in one bounce?
In one
9
one
flips
bounce.
and then land.
Yes,
Wow.
correct. We talked to a guy who has set a number of slacklining records. One is the highest altitude slackline. It was, I don't know, 15,000 feet between 2 hot air balloons.
Nice. Yeah. Get ready for some bros.
Yeah. Fine. There's not all bros. Not all bros are not a monolith.
Yeah,
there's
that's true.
different
Not all
types of bros.
Yeah. Slackline bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A woman who has the record just under Ken Jennings for most wins on Jeopardy.
Oh,
40 wins.
Whoa.
Yeah, stuff like that. So
nice.
it's been really cool to dip into these people's lives, ask them kind of whatever you want.
Right.
And, for 25 minutes and then be like, bye.
Have you guys had to carry, those people are not always, I imagine, like seasoned performers or always comfortable being in front. Are you guys filming it? Is it video too? Or is it just
is
audio?
a sort of setup like this where, there's a little studio. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How are they on camera? Have you guys had to kind of like carry the weight?
The guests are on Zoom.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
So
oh, nice.
they're
That's
all
easy.
over the world. And, so they're
comfortable or more comfortable maybe because.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're all people for the most part who are not shy.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing something extraordinary, because they want to be noticed for doing it,
Right.
So it's not necessarily pulling teeth to have a conversation. I think sometimes they have a kind of prepared spiel that they are trying to and I have found myself interrupting that and things like that. And I don't know if that's a really effective interviewing style, but
to like ask questions or make jokes. Like, are you doing
a
bits
little bit
or?
of both?
Yeah,
I mean, there was one guy we talked to just yesterday who has the record for most. He's stuck things in his beard. He's like has 14 records for sticking things in his beard. And the trick, it's not the beard, it's the method of sticking. It's like the weave that really sets him apart.
Oh.
But he was complimenting Kristen on her performance in Dinner for Schmucks, this movie, and he was admitted to being concerned that he was going to be the sort of schmuck and we were going to be kind of punching down on him.
Right.
And I will say, Kristen and Tony, people of, some notoriety, they don't have license to needle these people.
Sure. Yeah.
They've got to be positive, and they are intrinsically, naturally, organically positive towards these people.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily my disposition all the time. So, and I have a little more leeway to, do jokes.
Yeah. So you're like the heel a little bit. You're like the, who's the guy in American Idol?
I don't want to put myself in the box, but I'm Simon Cowell.
You're Simon, you're the mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that talked about or did that just sort of like evolve as a dynamic?
I don't think we planned it, but it wasn't surprising that that's the way it happened. And I don't want to like go into these interviews being like, I have to be kind of a dick to these people. Do that.
Yeah. How did the group of you come together? I know you were on Veep for a long time. Tony was obviously on Veep for a long time. Did you guys kind of become friends and this happened like that? Or
sort of. I've known Kristen for a long time. My wife Liz actually went to college with Kristen, and Kristen and I did improv. So I've known Kristen for more than 20 years. Mm-hmm. And Tony, I met doing a movie that a friend of mine directed. We were out in Tennessee for a summer shooting this movie. And I don't think I had done Veep before that movie. I think I met him there and then got that Veep gig. But that's how we met in sort of showbiz. And then got to know each other. He's such a friendly, outgoing guy. There was one time at lunch on one of these Veep episodes I did, I was hanging out with Tony and he was walking around lunch being so kind to everyone, you know, no matter what station they were ranking on this show. And I was like, Tony, you don't have to go out of your way to be so nice to all these people. And then it dawned on me like, no, he's doing that to me as well. I'm one of those people. But then during the strikes, I set up this outdoor fitness class. Do you remember this?
I do remember this. Yes.
And he was one of the participants in that. So
great.
That's sort of an intimate experience. What, you know, if you're doing burpees with someone in the park, you know, it's a way of getting to know each other.
Yeah, totally. How many burpees can he do?
He's pretty fit. You know? Yeah.
Well, that is. I'm really looking forward to listening and watching. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. I think that's it's a good group.
Knows? I hope it's been fun to do, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Kite Man.
Sure.
Awesome. So fun. I mean, that's like. Are you going to like Comic-Con and like soaking in the?
I did. I went to Comic-Con. It was a ton of fun. So, Kite Man is a character, started out as a character on Harley Quinn, a different cartoon on HBO Max. And I know the producers, the writers of that show through, I met Justin Halpern through his son, and my daughter went to the same preschool, and he was one of the guys who I did one of my first big credits was the show, The Onion Sports Dome. He was a fan of that. He's in that narrow Venn diagram of guys who like know who Ben Roethlisberger is and are into like rapid fire satire, you know. He was like, what? So that's kind of what got me in the door for Harley Quinn. And then I guess HBO Max went to them and said, we want a spinoff. And the Kite Man spinoff, which is sort of a riff on Cheers, where Kite Man owns a bar and runs a bar and gets into sort of, you know, DC heroic adventures while doing that.
Right.
Was the one that got picked and made, which was amazing. You know, I've had these sort of guest star roles on shows, and there's always a joke of like, we're going to do a spinoff for you. And this one actually happened, which was just such a thrill, and so much fun to do. Great, you know, scripts and a great cast, and a fun character to play. So yeah, it was great.
And I'm not super deep in the Harley Quinn universe.
Sure, fair enough.
But Kite Man is like a long-standing character in that world.
So Kite Man is, and again, I'm not that well versed either, but he is DC canon.
DC canon, great.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
So he is a sort of lesser known villain within the DC.
Oh, he's a villain?
He's a villain. They're all villains in this world.
What a twist.
The actual origin story of Kite Man.
Oh, villains like anti-heroes, like how Harley Quinn is a villain.
What was the other? What else could it mean?
Oh, well, I thought maybe that there was a group of superheroes who were the good guys. It'd be like if this were he was the Joker or whatever. Who's actually
there are no
guy.
good guys.
Yes, in the Harley Quinn world.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. An anti-hero. That's what you said. Yes.
Yeah.
So
because she is the hero basically of that universe.
Yes.
Essentially, they're the good guys.
The Kite Man's problem, and some would argue his gift, is that he doesn't have any real powers. All he has is a kite.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that you know.
Yeah. You've had a great voiceover career, I feel like. Some great animated stuff. I'm blanking on the name. Ugly Americans. Ugly Americans.
Well,
I remember when that came out, and that seemed like that was such a huge, you know, you were like the lead of that show. You're the lead in the, I mean, that's like, you know, I was looking at your IMDb, and you know who I thought of, like, I feel like you have like a very like Bryan Cranston kind of like arc going, where you're kind of just like, you just keep hitting it, and it's like you're gonna get your Breaking Bad.
It's a problem when you start doing the Bryan Cranston math. You're like, look, his number didn't come in. He didn't get Breaking Bad until he was like 47 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when there's like one guy who got out of the,
Yeah, maybe that's not the compliment that I meant it to be.
I hear you. I get it.
You've got a real Tom Cruise trajectory going
to
on.
me. Yeah, sure. Maybe, maybe there's a Vince Gilligan who's got his eye on me out there, but
he's in that Venn diagram of Ben Roethlisberger satirist.
It's possible.
Do you like the voiceover acting gigs in comparison to the on-camera stuff? Is there one you prefer? Like if you were...
They're great gigs. I mean, it is
seems
very much, it is easy money, brother.
Do fans know you though? Those are shows
No.
like Harley Quinn and those are big universes that I feel like have really devout fans. Like what did you do at Comic-Con?
I might have given Lake Bell COVID at Comic-Con, among other things, but
that should go in your bio.
well, so it was just this last spring, right? The Comic-Con in San Diego. And I did a panel with some members of the Harley Quinn universe and some members of the Kite Man universe. And yeah, it's you sit there and there's fans. There's a couple people dressed up as Kite Man, which is great.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did a couple of them for Ugly Americans too. And it's a ton of fun to be in a room with people who like the thing you're working on.
Yeah.
Because it's a very rare experience that like, oh, these are the people who like it. And it's a great feeling to be around people who are passionate about anything. And it's a lot more sort of uplifting than I would have anticipated. And, Ugly Americans was what, I don't know, 15 years ago, I don't know, something like that, if not more. And even then it was like nerds were still not, it was coming, but Comic-Con was still like a joke in some ways. And now that is completely gone.
Yeah, very legitimate.
Yeah. So that's been interesting.
Yeah. Do you get recognized from your other shows and stuff? Like
very, very rarely.
Yeah.
People respect my privacy.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah. If someone recognizes you, how do you want them to? What do you want them to say when they come up to you?
I had a weird one the other day where I'm getting out of the car. I'm getting like the kids out of the car in front of my house. And I don't know if this was her recognizing me from something, but she stops. She rolls down her window. She's driving. I'm on the sidewalk. She goes, "Hey, hi." I'm like, "Oh, hello." She goes, "What city is this?" And I was so thrown by that question. I was like, "Los Angeles,"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "You're an actor, right?" I was like, "Oh, yeah. So I think maybe what was happening was she's like, "That guy's somebody." And then by the time she like committed to saying something to me, she's like, "No, I don't actually know him from like high school.
Yeah.
He's an act, but now I have to say something out loud."
Yeah.
I'm going to say, "What city is this?"
Yeah.
So
you
they
think
go
she
like
committed? She leapt before she really understood.
It seems unlikely to me that she really had that question and then also was like, "You've been in some TV shows."
Yeah. The "what city is this" is a real weird. That's
really,
a real.
Yeah, it really threw me. What? One time, we were in an Uber. I was at a weekend with a bunch of old friends. These friends from my summer camp, and we were in an Uber in Palm Springs. And it was another weird one where I had called the Uber, but the driver, we're talking in the backseat, and the driver goes, "Is one of you a voice actor?" And I'm like, "Well," and it felt great.
Yeah,
I'm not
I was
gonna
gonna
lie.
say, there you go.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, Harley Quinn or whatever." And she's like, "Oh my God, we love that show." But I wonder if she had Googled if she had like sort of, I don't know. It seems unlikely that just the voice, but maybe.
I mean,
but it was great timing to be like around old friends, be like, oh, that's,
yeah. Yeah. How much did you pay her?
I know.
Just put that in your Uber profile. Like, ask me about my voice acting career.
Yeah, that would be great.
Extra tip if you mention that I'm a voice actor. That would be such a deep level move if the Uber driver like Googled everybody that she was about to pick up.
I might, if you have time, who is this person?
I get. Were you in LA? Did you say when this was happening?
We were in Palm Springs.
In Palm Springs. So all right, so you're close enough that you may be getting some celebrities. So maybe that's the next level move. So
just to be like, is this person a fugitive?
Yeah, that's true.
I got into an Uber the other day, and it was a young kid. And I don't know, 20 something, and he's playing Metallica. And I get in, I close the door, I go, Metallica. He goes, only Metallica. And I was like, what about Judas Priest?
Uh-huh.
He's like, I don't know them. And I hipped him to Judas Priest.
Nice.
And we didn't say anything. He put on the album. And then at the end, I go, rock and roll, man. And he goes, rock on. And you go, no, he said, thanks for putting me on.
Yeah.
Rock on, man. It felt good.
You blew his mind, man. You opened up his musical world. That's
yeah.
He'll remember you.
It's just a cool thing. Metallica? Only Metallica.
Yeah.
How are you that into Metallica and not completely unaware of?
You're a young man. I mean, listen, a 20-year-old. I had this thought. A 20-year-old person right now was 15 when COVID started.
Yeah, sure.
So you were like a freshman in high school. Your entire high school experience was ravaged by a pandemic. And now you're like just emerging into the world. And like, that's like you think of a 20.
That's no excuse for not knowing who Judas Priest is, bro.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
We were riding in an Uber and the driver was like, hey, I'm listening to a book on tape. Do you mind if I put it on? And we were like, sure, go for it.
Oh, no.
And they put it on and it was like, it was AI read fan fiction about it was like a sexy werewolf. And
that is wild.
It took us a while. And it's, it's this AI voice and it's like
you and Jess.
Jess and I were on our way home and it's like the AI voice is reading this thing and it's
what
like,
a perv.
It was like, DR Beast moved to her. I can smell how much you want me. DR Beast moved over. And it was like this whole thing. And we're like, who is this character, DR Beast? And then we realized that like, oh, that's Dr. Beast.
Oh,
no. Like, the AI wasn't. So we listened to this whole fan fiction, erotic werewolf fan fiction read by a computer.
Wow. Probably maybe written by a computer as well.
Maybe written. Yeah, maybe also written.
This guy's like, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm into it. This is book 7 of the.
I bet other people would want this.
Yeah.
That's a weird kink to be like, I want to play this. I want to make other people listen to this.
It wasn't like fully erotic. Like it wasn't like
it was
explicit.
Charged,
it was just sort of, it was like, you could tell that.
And were you like, oh, this is interesting? But did you comment on the material at all? Or you just sat there?
I think it took us a minute to understand. I think once we understood what it was, we were sort of like, this person might need this. So they were not like a super like normal, well-adjusted vibe. You know what I mean? And we were sort of, I think, too afraid. We didn't want to punch down, as you say, onto any of the, we did actually start to ask. We were like, because we thought maybe she had written it. That was what we read. Like she was listening to her own novel and hoping that someone in LA would be like, this is really good. Who wrote this? And she's like, I did. So we asked her, we were like, who wrote this? And she was like, oh, someone had written it. And she was just like a big fan of this, like, but it was like fan fiction, it was not like, it was a very.
I have no problem with somebody being into that. I have a problem with somebody making other people listen to it.
Yes. Playing it. Forcing you to
pop in an AirPod if that's what you gotta do.
Yeah. 100%.
It was Uber X, I guess.
As the lower.
Once you get to the comfort tier, you're gonna have less of those experiences.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Matt, what has changed about when you did you go to like acting school?
I went to the University of Michigan and studied acting there.
Acting, great. What has changed from like what you thought this career was going to be like to now? Having trudged a mile in Bryan Cranston's shoes.
I mean, I'm still hanging on to the old model of like recurring in network sitcoms, you know, and the air is getting thin. So I'm still living in, 2003 in terms of a lot of my career. But what has changed?
Is
I
it
don't
what
know
you
if this
thought
is-
it was? Sorry, go. Continue.
I don't know if this is an exact answer to your question, but so that Hacks job, it's me among 8 other, we're playing the writing staff of this late night show.
Yeah, great show, Hacks. So fun.
Great show.
We
It was
love
a ton
Hacks
of fun
here.
to be on. And I'm sort of the old guy in that group.
Gotcha.
And it was a lot of younger.
It's always a brutal.
I'll
casting.
take it, whatever. And hanging out with these younger actors was interesting. And it's not that different. They're still trying to like write something that gets made, and it's still the same grind. But the point I tried to make to one of them that I don't think was, anyway, I had heard this thing when I was in acting school that like, oh, Brando ruined a generation of actors because they were all trying to be, before Brando, they were trying to be Olivier or, sort of British elocutors,
Sure.
and now Brando and the method, it's all how real De Niro, Pacino, raw 70s can you get?
Yeah.
How can you make it feel real? And that's been the sort of presiding idea about acting since,
Right.
in many ways. But I think to me, so long as have a microphone and I'm encouraged to prognosticate, the shift is no one coming out of acting school now. I don't think there's a lot of them who are aspiring to be a great method actor necessarily. It is a business now, and not necessarily that's bad. It's just different. You are many things now. You have to be. I'm also a writer. I'm also a producer. I'm making this documentary. I'm, writing this movie. No one is, I'm not no one, but from my viewpoint, it's less about dedicating yourself to this craft and more about how can I make my point of view connect to an audience. So I think that's good in a lot of ways that, these people are artists and they should, the barrier between their idea and an audience is disintegrating. And in a lot, it's harder, to become a movie star now, but it's easier to create something you're passionate about. So that's
very interesting, actually.
Is it?
Well, did people tell you when you were graduating or in school, like you have to stick to a lane? That was something I got told a lot. Like, if you're going to be an actor, be an actor. If you're going to be a writer, be a writer. If you're going to be a director, be a director. Like, people are going to think of you as one thing.
There was nobody I knew who when I was in college for acting that was like, I'm also going to be a director and I'm also going to be a singer and I'm also going to be a writer. And I would bet that that's what they're all doing now for a good reason.
Totally,
but
yeah.
Everybody was just like, I don't know, maybe I'll go to New York and get an agent and book something.
Yeah.
And that's the hustle is much different now. And
How was your transition to LA from New York? Like, did you come with agents? Did you come with a big job? Like, how did you find the transition?
I always said like I'd come out here when I was invited.
Yeah.
So that's not really what happened though.
I always said, and that I immediately,
Well, Liz, my wife, was pregnant and we didn't really want to have a baby in New York. And my parents live in the suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs. I have a lot of friends in New York, and but that didn't really appeal to us. And Liz is from Arizona, so we would be closer to her family. So those were like, I would say, the biggest factors. And then in terms of showbiz, I had been coming out here for pilot season. I moved out here in January of 2013, right? And pilot season was still a thing then.
Right.
And that was, in terms of my career, that was like a really big part of the year, was like, are you going to book one and is it going to go?
Yeah.
And that takes up, months of your year.
And that was like the legacy model. I mean, that was the 2003. I mean, that was just how it was.
And it, it was a crazy system in a lot of ways, but there's still embers of it. It's mostly gone now.
Yeah.
But I had also sort of like run out of jobs to get in New York. I wasn't on The Daily Show. I wasn't on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And there wasn't a ton, so it was like, let's go, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So the transition, I had a manager, I had agents, and in terms of that, it was okay. I think everyone has the same experience where they come out here they've got one meeting and they're like,
yeah,
that's good. They say they really like it. So,
yeah,
and
totally.
Then that evaporates for whatever reason. Excuse me. And then you start building shit from scratch again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a real reset.
Yeah.
Unless you're huge or a known quantity, I would say.
I mean, even then,
yeah.
I mean, if you're huge, whatever, but it goes away. The towers topple and you have to start building again. But
yeah,
there was a lot of that for me, but and there is still, but I never really wanted to go back.
Yeah. Never serious. Do you miss it? Like, I think missing it and wanting to go back can be separate things. So
it's somebody else's line, but I miss the clowns, but not the circus.
Yeah.
And it's hard to separate it from missing being young.
For sure. Yeah, that's
but I go back to New York and I'm like, forget it, man. It's like impossible. I go back and usually I go back in July and it's just like so hot. And,
yeah.
And like, when's the last time where did you live when you lived in New York?
Brooklyn, Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
And you go back there now and it's too engineered for my comfort.
Yeah.
There's too many like bike lanes and Van Lewens. And I'm like,
yeah. It was like an industrial wasteland when we lived there.
And for guys like us, that edge is like necessary to like, if we want to feel like we're not dorks, we have to put ourselves into a place that's got ton of, vibe.
Yeah.
And once that edge is sanded off, you look around, you're like, I'm just a white guy over here,
Yeah.
This isn't what I signed up for.
That was my experience of moving to LA. I was just like, oh no, everyone is me. It was like, New York is such a diverse place. And I think even in the acting and the comedy world, there's just so much diversity. And LA is a diverse city, but it was like the auditions I would go to, everything, it was like, you're a skinny, funny, like, and obviously you go to auditions because you're that type. So there's some of that, but yeah, I was just like, oh, everyone from New York that wanted, it was just like, oh, everyone. Yeah. I'm one of a lot of people, as in like a type of human.
Yeah. And I think our brand of like, improv was interesting for a while, and is less sort of in demand now. But
yeah, there's a real fad. There's a real 10 years where improv was like,
I'm surprised it went on that long. But I hear what you mean about like, everybody here's in showbiz, but
showbiz, but also like, took improv classes.
Yes.
Like lived in New York, came out here, had a pilot that they were writing, what I mean? Just like, down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's comfort in this is where we all are.
For sure.
And you don't really have to explain yourself. Like when I first moved here, I wanted to play tennis. And maybe this was one of the times I was visiting for pilot season or something. And it was like a Tuesday at 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got a court reserved at the park at like 2:30. I'm like, it was not a problem to get 4 guys to show up immediately. Yeah. So the shame of not having a real job is less here, which is huge for me.
For sure. People get it. Yeah. Yes. It's almost like having a real job here is more, if you're going to feel shame, it would be like having a 9 to 5 here is sort of like.
But in New York, like everybody's got, a briefcase and, they're in a rush. And you're like, where are you going? Should I be doing that?
Yeah.
But here,
and that lifestyle to me is so like, it's hard to piece together your living through like 1,000 different freelance things, which we all certainly did. And I think a lot of people are, I looked at Uber and stuff like that when it first came out and I was like, God, I wish this would have been the perfect thing to do when I was in my 20s. Like, how nice would that have been just to like clock in, clock out. You have a box, you drive around that makes you money. Like this would be the perfect thing. And then it, turned into like an exploitative, mega conglomerate of, I think Uber's pretty evil.
Too bad.
Yeah, I think so. So it didn't turn out, but the idea of like the monotony of a 9 to 5, not having that was always a very appealing part of this sort of lifestyle.
I went to the dermatologist today.
Do tell.
And I have the SAG insurance.
Oh,
and they're like, oh yeah, SAG insurance, it's a dermatologist in like Burbank.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that's what we have over here.
Yeah.
So it feels good. And then the dermatologist was like, what do you do? Which I'm like, difference does it make to you, man?
Got SAG insurance,
Yeah.
Take a guess.
Yeah.
For our listeners, that's the union. SAG is the actors union.
Oh.
If you work enough, you have to earn enough money in SAG, but if you earn enough, you can qualify for their insurance, which is a good insurance.
Pretty good. Getting worse every year, but it's pretty good.
Getting hammered,
But I like that, and I like that.
Oh, how did you check out? Everything all right? Moles look good?
Everything's fine. I have a bump on my head that's benign.
Great.
But weird. We're going to have a procedure done in April, so stay tuned.
Great. Maybe come back after that and you can tell us how it went.
Well, at first, one doctor was like, we'll have to shave that part of your head. I was like, I'll just live with this bump. But then you go to it. It's shameful to go to the barber or like if you're working in the hair people.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I mention this bump? Like, because
you don't want to freak them out. Like, they're gonna be like, whoa,
the horn. So anyway,
they're not going to shave you though. Not going to shave your head. You can get it done.
Turns out this guy's willing to do it without that. So
full hair.
Yeah,
I like it.
But no, I like showbiz. I like the studio lots. I like the rental houses. Yeah. I like. That house used to belong to Craig T. Nelson and Sidney Poitier lived in that building. I like all that.
Do you ever feel like maybe, I don't want to say that you're out of a different era, but if you could go back in time and live in an era, is there one you'd like to, do any of them appeal to you?
I mean, just as a white man, they had a great run. Still wouldn't trade it for anything, but like, you look at like Mad Men or whatever, like, I they all had like strokes by the time they were 60. So that's not good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I wonder if white men being permitted or having the, violently taken power to do whatever they want, whenever they want, is not necessarily a route to happiness or contentment.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would go back to like
the 70s.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think
I think about the 70s sometime. And again, you have to sort of like take the political, like the backwards shit that was going on then out of the equation a little bit. But I think
what part of it appeals to you?
I think the music appeals to me. I think like it was this peak of rock
Doobie
and
Brothers.
roll, like Led Zeppelin and I think like Also, I think the no phones, the no technology, the no social media. Speaking of Cheers, that your show is sort of like a Cheers vibe. So we have a young child, as you know, and we have just found it so hard to exist in the world, like hard to watch the news, hard to sort of like think about what the future might hold, like when you have like a young kid, that we can't watch any scary television. Like we can't watch anything that like people are getting their throats slit and you're just like, I'm going to wake up nightmares. So anyway, we've been watching Cheers reruns.
Oh, yeah.
And working our way through Cheers. And there's something so nice. And Cheers happens in the 80s. So not quite the 70s. But when you like, people come into that bar and there's no cell phones, there's no giant screen televisions on every wall.
I mean, that bar's not real.
God, if I just want to find that bar. But there's like there's sort of a like an ease to it that it's like
less rushed.
Yeah, it's less rushed. It's less like saturated. Like people, like if you go, I mean, this is such an old man sort of thing to say, but you like see everyone just like constantly on their phones everywhere you go. And it's like, none of that was happening. It just felt sort of like, oh, that's right. Like this is the way humans lived that was like very similar to now, but minus this one sort of perhaps.
I love my phone.
Everyone does. That's a problem.
Not for me.
We love them. It's the dopamine. It's such a drug.
One of my best friends. So I keep it right here.
Yeah,
here, right now.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Like, what have we lost? But, I also agree with your other statement that anyone who middle-aged, we have to really guard ourselves against.
Yeah, it was better when.
Yeah.
100%.
George Clinton talks about, he's like, I just get hip to the new shit because it's coming whether you want it or not. So
100%.
I mean, not that I am hip to the new shit, but I try to remind myself to not be like kids these days.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's just it's a waste of time.
I feel like a kid these days. Like I don't really feel like a middle-aged person. I would say.
How old are you?
44.
Okay, well, you are.
I know. Yeah. Last week, when we read this comment, someone was like, you guys should quit YouTube. You're a bunch of 50-plus-year-old men talking about irrelevant shit. And I was like, 50 plus? I mean, that's the sort of thing like when you're, if
that is one of the biggest audiences for YouTube, by the way.
50 plus.
It is.
No, I bet it is.
Yeah.
But really though, like if you're 50 plus, do you want to listen to 40-year-old guys talk about stuff? Like, I don't know. I think like our biggest audience is probably like 35-year-old guys who are just like,
what's it like, man?
Yeah. In
Mentor
10 years,
me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm just saying. I feel like I'm a hip young guy, and then you like talk to some hip young guys, and you're like, oh, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea.
I was never a hip young guy, though. I've always been, my shirt tucked into my khaki, so I'm not missing. Being in touch with the zeitgeist. I was always like, where can we get some mozzarella sticks and a Bud Light,
But that is your version of hip young guy. You know what I mean? There was a place for that. We were theater nerds in New York, but that was like, there was a world of theater nerds, and that was a contemporary, we were hip young theater nerds within that world.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? It's weird, but I agree. Yeah. It's like, there's no point in just being like, oh, the world was better, way back when. It is. My dad says the wheel of change is always rolling. You can get out in front of it or you can get under it.
Is your dad the lead singer for
Jethro Tull?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is actually.
Nate, I want to give you this flute. Nathaniel, it's time you take it.
Yeah, he is a musician.
Oh, really?
He is.
Maybe you told me that.
Plays bluegrass.
Oh, I did know that. Yeah.
Matt, how do you find your bliss? What is your bliss?
Bluegrass. Yeah. What is my bliss?
Yeah.
My phone. What is my bliss? I think my children, the times when all the time, the garbage time,
Yeah.
I think there's so much joy that comes out of that. And, one thing, having a baby is really intense, But one of the pros about having a baby as young as you do is that often in our line of work, at least for me, I felt I'm not being completely utilized. My energy, my talents are can feel wasted some days, and that's not a good feeling. But now you have something in your life that is very demanding, and that's a good feeling.
Yeah, 100%.
To be like, I am of use in this world.
Yeah.
So that's a component of the bliss I feel around my kids, but the joy they deliver independently of my own ego needs is also good. Yeah.
What do you think is going on in existence? Like, do you
What the hell question is that?
what do you think
Or is this like a simulation?
Yeah, or like, what does the universe want? What are we? Why are we here? What are we doing? You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
Like, is there free will? Is that your question? Or I don't think this is a simulation.
Yeah.
I don't think AI is fuck AI, first of all.
Yeah. Totally.
Telling people to be scared of AI is such a broy status lame take.
Okay.
Because
I might push back on that a little bit, but go ahead.
It's like a status move to be like, look, you're not reading what I'm reading. You're not in touch with the people I'm in touch with. You don't understand technology the way I do.
Yeah.
You need to get on board with this because this is the future. Anytime, like Zuckerberg, how long ago was he calling his shot saying, by 2025, maybe I've made this point to you before, but by 2020, we're all going to be wearing goggles and meeting up in the metaverse.
Right.
Facebook is no longer Facebook; it's Meta.
Yeah.
They have to lie to us that some big idea is on the horizon. In order to inflate their value.
Right.
And I'm sure AI is going to be very powerful in our lives and in our children's lives, but it is not going to change the world in the way that everybody thinks that all these bros are trying to scare us about.
And what is that way that they're trying to?
And this is based on no research. This is just gut instinct.
I would say that I am a little afraid that AI is going to change the world in bad ways. So I'm just sort of curious. Yeah, like what is, because I think you're right. I think it is in the tech industry's best interest to say this is the most powerful thing ever and it's going to revolutionize every facet.
These guys have not had a new idea since the internet.
Yeah.
And then your phone knows where you are.
Yeah.
They're not geniuses up there.
No.
It's such a sham.
I do agree with all that. But you don't think that ChatGPT is already taking people's jobs. Like, people are losing jobs.
Every single new technology has been predicted to end employment.
Yeah.
But look at where there's still record low unemployment in this country. The jobs suck, but people have them and jobs have probably always sucked.
Yeah.
But I don't put much stock into these guys telling us what's going to happen.
Yeah.
When they've been wrong. I mean, they've been right about a lot of it, but they're not this class of oracles. They are, hardworking businessmen who want to make money.
Yeah. Who want to sell their product.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is for sure true. Someone said, in the Industrial Revolution, we sort of mechanized we automated away the need for human strength, right? Like, people didn't lift stuff. We have machines that lift stuff and move stuff around. And what's happening in the digital age is we are automating human intelligence. We're automating human reasoning. And we don't need a person to answer a phone and be like, give me your credit card number. Like, let me see if I can help you with that. Like, a machine is going to do all that kind of stuff. And I would say it's pretty hard not to see in the same way that factory jobs are all gone.
Not in China.
I know
People
but
are
that's-
still making things. I mean, yes, robots are probably helping, and there's but
yeah.
we have lifted.
But that's because probably in China, human labor is so much cheaper than machines, to the detriment of society and humans, right? Like we don't want a society
Billions
like China's
of people
society.
have been lifted out of poverty in China. The global poverty rate has plummeted in the last 20 years.
Yep.
And I don't think that gets enough shine.
Sure.
And a lot of that is because people, and I, again, not a ton of research and data on this, but because of jobs in China.
Yeah.
Horrible, dangerous jobs.
Right.
That have lifted, that allow people to provide food and shelter for themselves and their children.
But you would agree that we don't want people to work horrible, dangerous jobs, right? We want people to work good, fulfilling, meaningful jobs, which I would say for the most
Who has
part.
a good, fulfilling, meaningful job? Who likes their job?
You like your job. We were just saying how much you like show
barely work. It's impossible. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talked a lot about AI last week, and
Let's not wait.
I don't want to go too crazy.
I don't either.
I don't want to go too
but
crazy.
in terms of what do I
think it's-
existence? I
sure,
don't. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like,
do you believe in God?
not really.
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
My grandmother was on her deathbed and couldn't talk, and they brought in the pastor, and I explained to the pastor that my grandmother is agnostic, and I wrote it down, and she, days away from that, she crossed out agnostic and wrote atheist. So if she had the courage to do that then I can have the courage to do that now.
Yeah. But do you believe in like a creative force in the universe?
Sure. I mean, there's something, special happened, but
sure. Yeah. Do you not think about that? Like I think I sometimes am just like, what's going on around here? And I also don't think we're living in a simulation, but I do think a simulation is sort of an apt metaphor for maybe sort of something close to what's happening.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
That would be that like we are so removed from what a base reality, quote unquote, would be like, that it is essentially that we're sort of living in a simulation.
What's a base reality?
Well, I think that's like a tough question, right? But a base reality would be a full picture of like the nature of existence. I think we could debate what a good definition of base reality is for a long time, but it would be like a very accurate, clear picture of the nature of existence, probably. And I think where your day-to-day perception is that this is all very clearly the base reality. This is all very easy. This is the couch, and these are couch cushions, and this is a shoe, and that's all very easy to sort of like understand. But I think it's also like one way to look at a human being is to say that like the energies of your existence began thousands and billions of years ago, and
they are stardust.
Yeah, for real though.
Is that a Jethro Tull song?
I think my dad wrote that. But it's like we perceive ourselves in these very limited ways, and I think that you could easily argue that there's so much more. Even this very simple way to say this is that we have 5 senses and we perceive only what those 5 senses. We could be hearing radio waves and feeling ultraviolet thing. So like just in a very like surface level, we could sense like so much more that's actually happening. So we have a very sort of limited experience. So I think in that way you could argue that like, it's sort of a simulation. We're sort of getting a surface level read of a very, very deep, complex system.
Okay. No, I don't subscribe to that theory.
No, it's just, it is what it is. A rock is a rock. A human's a human.
Man.
Yeah.
What? No, I don't think we're in the Matrix. I don't think, like an Occam's razor guy over here.
Yeah. Well, Occam's razor is interesting, but so Occam's razor me this. Why is the universe not just a black void devoid of like every individual piece of matter is equally spread and nothing attracts and it's just like a blank lifeless void, right? Like why does gravity exist? Gravity is like a rule of our universe, but doesn't need to be. You could have a universe that doesn't have gravity.
How does that happen without something you call God.
No, I'm
Sure,
not. I'm
then
not.
God is gravity. God is
Yeah.
physics.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Well, yeah, I think you like. I'm not arguing for like a Christian God in any way, or any sort of like a God. I think God is
Here's what I know. God is a man. That's what I know.
We can both agree on that, brother,
Yeah.
for sure.
Whatever started it
Yeah, but it's like you
had a penis.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Beautiful.
Look at
Beautiful penis.
a huge, gorgeous.
But whatever size it was or is,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I think for me, it's like, why isn't the universe just like an empty black void of nothingness? Like, why we have a universe where gravity exists, where there's laws of nature that attract things, where like certain chemical reactions take place. I don't think that any God came down and was like, let there be gravity.
But you're like, knowing that you have to sort of, as a thinking person, reconcile you have to come up with some sort of
I think it's like
unifying theory for why that.
And not like why. I think it's just like when you look, you're like, if you leave our universe alone for 13 billion years, Beethoven happens. And so to me, it's like the nature of our universe.
Beethoven, the movie you're talking about. Yeah.
and
Beethoven too happened.
Yeah, all those things. So it's like the universe trends towards complex systems. Right. And it's just like, so that is like, if I were going to say what I thought God was, it would just be that.
And you don't have to.
Trend. Yeah. Atheist. It would be that trend of the universe. It'd be like, this universe is tilting towards creating these like complex structures. And then it's, of course, entropy is that everything is actually moving towards disintegration, but on its way to disintegration, it creates all these like crazy forms. But it's like, why? None of that needs to be the case.
I think so long as those philosophies don't absolve you of the responsibility you have to other people, then whatever.
Yeah.
But when those get in the way of,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, that's just like religion was a political system for many, many years. And the scientifics, it was just like a human.
Ways to control women, man.
I mean, totally. But you never gaze into the stars. You never like, what does this all mean? What is this? What's happening here?
I mean, not really. No.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's majestical.
Yeah.
It's, but I don't feel an urgency to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably couldn't be understood even if we had more answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Matt.
Great talk.
Great talk. Have you made any career mistakes?
Oh.
Do you ever look back at your career and say like, oh, I really messed up?
I'm sure I have. I mean, nothing but them. But I admire the people I see who have a little more courage, a little more bias towards action to get things done. So if there's any error along the way, it was, pulling punches here and there, whatever. So, yeah.
Pulling punches is like not jumping into a big project or not making
I guess
the thing
so.
that,
Yeah. But, I would do shows at the Pit that I thought were great and, nobody would come.
Yeah.
So it's not like oh man, if only I had put my beans on the table,
right,
everybody would have devoured them. Sometimes you do your best and you put it out there and it's not good,
Yeah. I mean, I loved everything I saw you do at the Pit. I thought you did some great stuff.
But the stuff you didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't come to those. Those are ones that I just didn't come to. Matt, do you have anything you want to plug? Any socials?
No, I guess just the Extraordinarians.
Check
if
out.
You're into listening to people talk, we got another one for you. So it'll be out, I believe, April 2nd, I think.
Nice.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
April 2nd. Great. Coming right up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not too far away. And then I like to go out with one good thing. So this is just one good thing in your life, one good thing you're happy that it exists, one thing to kind of feel good about for everybody out there listening to this so that they don't have to be alone with their own thoughts.
Okay, give me a minute here. One good thing that is in my life or that could be in someone else's life.
Pretty broad. It's a pretty broad. I think you can go where you want. When someone says good, what jumps into your mind?
I am curious about cooking more with ranch powder. And Rich, who you know as well, puts them in mashed potatoes. And that's something I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And I think ranch as a flavor is really having a moment right now.
Yeah.
My kids love ranch in a way I wasn't.
Are they like dipping fries in it and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, they're going crazy.
So those types of things, I can really squeeze a lot of joy out of something like that. And that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling a little down today and looking for something to, get you out of that hole.
Yeah.
Go get some ranch powder. It's probably near the taco powder,
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Matt, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. A lot of these projects like the cooking show we did with the other Nate, really just excuses to, we imagine there being an audience that may or may not exist.
Yeah.
Talk about living in a simulation.
Yeah.
But it's nice just to have a chance to sit and talk, no
100%.
matter what the product is.
And I feel like we just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's a lot more we could talk. So I hope you'll come back and do it again. Yeah.
Sure. Once I've cracked the universe out, you will be the first to know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Pleasure.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
So deep. So deep.
We're in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles.
You have to go deeper, I think.